This is Ram Das from the Pacific, and wishing you all namaste. Namaste, namaste, namaste. I hope you can hear me. You and I, as souls, came down to incarnate because the earth is suffering, suffering, suffering. And suffering and fear are going to be our teachings. And we get the teachings. Those suffering and fear are results of our attachments. And therefore, being very mindful of our attachments, we can get rid of suffering and fear. And get rid of attachments is the way. And that's how to get rid of attachments. The fruits of all your work consecrate to Krishna or Ram or God, and then stay very, very mindful of your attachments. Maybe witness them. You get rid of suffering, get rid of attachments. And the attachments usually are to the fruits of our work or effort. And the attachments, just, for example, we're very attached to life. And that's why we're suffering about death. So when you suffer, see what your attachment is, and figure out how to get rid of the attachment. Consecrate the actions. Keep your identity in the witness is a very good way that will get rid of attachments. Okay, now, questions.
Okay, first question is, how do you work with jnana, or intellectual yoga, within your practice of bhakti yoga?
Bhakti yoga involves the heart, and keep the heart mind is right in the middle of the chest. And if you go deep enough, you get to God, or at least you get to the wisdom. And wisdom is jnana yoga. So you then work with wisdom, and you are wise all the time. Actually, bhakti is a path that leads to jnana. Jnana means the intellect and the mind to get to. We have now bhakti, heart, jnana, mind. Both are good paths, and jhana, you're getting there through the heart, through wisdom.
This question is from Alicia. Do you believe in the term bipolar? And do you think someone suffering from a chronic thought disorder should take medication?
The chronic, what kind of?
Bipolar.
No.
I'll repeat the question. Do you believe in the term bipolar?
Yeah.
And do you think someone suffering from a chronic thought disorder should take medication?
The chronic, what it is?
Chronic mental condition.
Okay. Bipolar is rather new, so I can't really believe in it from a scientific point of view. I certainly think people do go in extremes to depression, and on the other hand, energy rushes, and the medications in bipolar they're hit or miss. If you have bipolar, or what the doctor says is bipolar, if you take any medication and then try it yourself, and you intuitive what you should do, but after feels good, continue. If it feels bad, try something else. And I don't think the medicines are great for the for spiritual work. Again, you can intuit whether that's true about the medicines you're using. Okay.
Okay, so sorry, my screen is freezing up a little bit every here and there. I don't know if anybody else's is. But if you are getting any audio or video interference, please send me a note in chat. The next question is from Saraswati. Ram says, unless you honor Shiva, you cannot come to me. Can you give a real life experience where that can be explained? And unless you honor Shiva, you cannot come to me. Give a real life experience where that can be explained.
Me is, in that case, are the incarnates from Vishnu. And the incarnates of Vishnu are worshiping Shiva. By the way, it's that Shiva worships them, so everybody's worshiping everybody. It says, for example, worship God, worship the One, worship. That's the way for Shiva. Shiva is the One. And Ram worships Shiva before he crosses the ocean. Each of them worships Shiva. Worship Shiva before a lingam, or worship Shiva, Om Shivaya, Om Shivaya, Om Shivaya, something like that.
The next question is, some people believe that the Hopi Indians, the Mayans, and Nostradamus have predicted the end of the world in 2012. Do you believe the world will end in 2012?
If we don't do something to save ourselves, it will probably end around that time, because certainly those predictions are from God. I don't think that it is time now to work with those predictions, but we can certainly clean up global warming, things like that, make us be one consciousness, things like that. But those things will delay that time. Okay. And I think as souls, we are living in eternity. And so we as souls, we want to leave the world anytime it suits us. And that is a good time for any. it's weird to want to stay on the earth when you oh boy, spirit world is great. So it's a, I think I believe, yeah, I like their predictions. Yeah.
Your stroke, this question's from Bhavani. When you had your stroke, did you feel as though you couldn't breathe, and did you panic?
I stroked during the night, and so I didn't even notice until the morning when I didn't use my leg. When I woke up, I would have panicked if I had stopped breathing. But I didn't any of it.
How do you bring to the moment the presence or awareness of Guru? I'll repeat that. How do you bring to the moment the presence or awareness of Guru?
You feel the presence in your environment or in your mind, and after you feel that presence, you say, "Oh, you're here," and the faith that fans the flame of faith, and but it's the listening that gets you the presence, and sometimes the presence gets you sobbing or in your heart. The presence comes to you when it wants to. And so you don't manipulate the presence. When the presence comes, you will see what it's like.
I think I'm reading it right, but I apologize to Paldas if I don't get it right. And he says, Namaste. My wife got this Muktananda person mantra, Om Namah Bhagavate Muktananda Daya. I don't even like him, but can't stop the mantra. Thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on Muktananda?
Muktananda is something I've traveled with, and I don't like him either, but that doesn't mean I don't honor him. He's a Shaivite, and I'm a Vaishnavite, and he a power tripper, and I just don't care for that for myself. But nevertheless, if you had a mantra and you want to do it and it's comfortable, it doesn't matter whether you like it or not from Muktananda, because the mantra is in for the lifetime.
Okay, the next question comes from Steve, and he asks, at this stage in your incarnation, do you still feel intolerant towards people or events? I'll repeat that. At this stage in your incarnation, do you still feel intolerant towards people or events?
My intolerance is part of my work on myself, and I watch my intolerance. Intolerance comes rarely. They used to come every time I'd be out on the street, but they don't come as much now in my, and I think that intolerant something is immediately starting a witness, and my identity. I'm no longer intolerant. I'm witnessing the intolerance. That's the way I handle it now. Yeah.
Bob from Carolina asks, in a very interactive job like being a teacher, is there any trick to keep in the witness frame of mind? I'll repeat that. In a very interactive job like being a teacher, is there any trick to keep in the witness frame of mind?
Well, the teaching is a role, and you're going between role and soul and role and soul, and so you get into your soul, and then you can do the role. It's important that you not identify with the role. Don't you be a teacher when you're teaching, and then you can be a soul teaching, and that will give you a witness to to see the soul, to the role.
The next question is from Claudia. In Buddhism, they say that they have no soul, and they do believe in reincarnation. How can you reincarnate if you don't have a soul?
Well, the Buddhists that say that have an incarnation are the Tibetan Buddhists, and they see an energy package that incarnates, and that we call the soul. It really, it's consciousness and awareness goes between the incarnations.
Next question from Saraswati. Do you think therapy helps in times of life stress, or is it just doing your spiritual practice enough? I'll repeat that. Do you think therapy helps in time of life stress, or is just doing your spiritual practice enough?
Well, it depends on who your therapist is. If your therapist is Buddha, you got it both ways. And I think both will work. I think that you've got to witness the emotions and the thoughts that go in therapy, because that's just that's a game, the game we play about personality.
Question is from Gauri. I've been told that I have a guru and a Satguru. What does this mean, and how do I know who is which one? I'll repeat that. I've been told that I have a guru and a Satguru. What does this mean, and how do I know who is which one?
Well, a Satguru is the top one, and you have a guru will introduce you to the Satguru, and the guru is more like a guide or like a teacher. The guru will show you which way to go from where you are. The Satguru is beckoning from within, from beyond. And if you say you have to you stick with your guru, and the Satguru will make her or himself known when it's time.
Okay. This is from John Nicholson. Can you speak about the forms of traditional methods like Tibetan Buddhists, which stress very detailed methods, questions, and prescriptions for achieving clarity and compassion as precursors to awakening, versus the Advaita approach of just stopping and putting no preconditions to our fully being present and aware right now? That was a long question. I'm going to repeat it. Can you speak about the forms of traditional Tibetan Buddhism, which stress very detailed methods, sequences, and prescriptions for achieving clarity and compassion as precursors to awakening, versus the Advaita approach of just stopping and putting no preconditions to our fully being present and aware right now?
They are both good formulas. The Advaita comes in a flash. Long-term other actually each method is, it's like going up a mountain this way, this way, or this way, or this way, and they all come to the same thing, which is the formless form. The formless form, the one. Yes.
Very short. Why did our souls come here? I'll repeat that. Why did our souls come here?
Our souls came here because their soul is, it's got karma from previous incarnations, and coming to Earth is working out our karma. The life you live is because of your karma. And you look at at one thing, and I look at another thing, but we're two different, because different projections, and the projections are our karma. And we each live in our own worlds. We are interactive, but that's part of each other's karma. But the soul is incarnating for teaching.
Question is from Chris in Santa Cruz, and it was regarding the previous question about 2012. Your agreement with the 2012 predictions filled me with fear. Could you comment for me?
Well, I think that you have work to do with dying. I think that fear is not appropriate to know you're going to die. Dying is a beautiful part of life, and it's change, and it leaves you as a soul, and will take away your ego. And if you're frightened by that, then you're deep in your ego, and you are, and that's all right. I mean, that's not, ego isn't bad. But the ego is part of the incarnation, and therefore it's going to go when the incarnation goes. If you identify with your soul down here, the I, there'll be no fear, no fear. And yeah, I don't really know. I mean, that prediction, I mean, a lot of those people who predicted it, they were souls who knew. So unless we can change it, or we can change it, I don't, it's okay. It's okay.
From Rick. For those who value the insight, wisdom, and enlightenment of Moses, who brought forth the Torah and the Ten Commandments to the Jewish people, how do you rationalize worshiping the Hindu gods when it was commanded not to have other gods and no graven images?
Well, I guess I'm just Jewish on my parents' side, and on Maharaji's side, I'm everything, and everything. And if I intuitively go one direction, it's fine. I think that I came, when the first time I went to India, I worshipped a orange monkey made of cement, and I thought, boy, this is not good for me as a Jew. But I think I think somebody who is schooled in the Torah should go with that. And I was just a political Jew. I was not studying the Torah. That wasn't part of my Sunday school. So I've got to. Yeah. You know, different little. When I was in the psychedelic period of my life, Aldous Huxley gave me the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and that started me seeing the Eastern way of things when I was studying my consciousness. If at that moment a rabbi had given me a different book, maybe I would have changed. But that I've my life has been Jewish, and then Buddhist, and then Hindu. And I find the Hindus they're accepting all. And actually, those roles are merely paths up the mountain. And I'm the one. Yeah, that's the one. I'm at the top of I'm looking at the top of the mountain, wherever I am.
Oops, sorry, my microphone was off. I apologize. I'm going to repeat the question. You've guided my life since 1983. I tell others you are my spiritual teacher. In my total being, I know you are my guru. Is calling this okay with you?
Yeah, it would. You can do it when you want, but I'll tell you, I've met a guru, my guru, and I'm not one. I'm the middleman to go through to the Satguru, and I'm Charlie McCarthy, and Edgar Bergen is up there, and that's you have a lot of people young and don't see that analogy. I'm the puppet that Maharaji, and if you taste my love, it's his love. Although I'm trying to be loving.
This one says, never mind Hindu gods. What about being told by Maharaji to worship Christ?
I worship Christ. I think he's absolutely wonderful. And Maharaji said a lot of things. He said that Christ and Hanuman are the same, which offends Hanuman bhaktas. I'll worship anybody that has that kind of consciousness that Christ had. Worship is another. It's a befriending. It's a befriending. It's my satsang. Ramana Maharshi, Christ, Buddha, Anandamai Ma, all these. These are the people I hang out with.
Some people, like myself, believe that the end of the word spoken of in the Bible and Mayans is actually the process of Zion. I hope I'm saying that right, which is a revelation, a thinning of the veil of illusion that separates us from God. The end of the world is actually the beginning of heaven. Do you agree with this?
Well, I think that an individual is ending with that incarnation, and then he goes to the spirit world. I don't know the one called heaven, because heaven and hell are down here. But I think the spirit world is the minute you go through death, you come to the spirit world, which is infinite. Now, I'm not sure I heard that question. I think I answered it.
That was good. We have another question. We have a couple of questions about that. One is from Bob. I am working with a client in hospice and was wondering how to broach the subject with her about her death and to offer help if she wants it. So I'll repeat that. I'm working with a client in hospice and was wondering how to broach the subject with her about her death and how to offer help if she wants it.
I think that you're wise, because if she wants it is the key thing. Tell her you standing by the bed, and you will help, but she should give the rules of that help. Yeah. And if you are standing silently by with love in your heart, that's about the best you can do. Yeah.
The next question on the same topic is from Sunita. Can you talk more about dying and the fear of death, please?
I think that a fear of death is fear of the process of death, the process of approaching death, and pain and so things like that. I don't see any fear from for what happens after death, because you're going to be a soul in the most infinite world, infinite spirit world. And I think that you identify with your incarnation. That's why you have fear of death, and you know, death is some. And here, the the phrase in India, say, she left her body. She left her body. That means the soul left the body. And the body, you don't identify with the body because it's you afford, or you, sure, I've identified with my cars, but there's enough is enough. And so unless you want to prepare, going to sadhana during life will prepare you to identify with your soul. And then you've done death many, many, many times as a soul. And there's no real fright except the pre-death. And that you can regulate with good helpers and good internal mechanisms and good drugs, I guess. Yeah.
We're not going to be able to get to all of the questions today. One question, though, is from Melissa. Can you comment on the karma of the many people who were imprisoned and killed in the Holocaust? I'll repeat that. Can you comment on the karma of the many people who were imprisoned and killed in the Holocaust?
Their karma required them to do as they have done. For example, but they as souls, they came into this incarnation with that in mind, or with it in soul, before it's hard to spell out why a person has the karma they had, because it's hard to go back in the incarnations that has person this result. It's very interesting to mass things like the Holocaust, because if the individuals have karma that they die that way, and maybe they as souls, maybe they wanted to be that thing, that a Holocaust victim, maybe they felt that the Holocaust would train the earth, and they wanted to group themselves together, training for for other souls that come after. Prisons. A person can get put in prison and maybe they'll do their work from prison, or they can do their work. I was just listening to a film of some prisoners that were down south, some black prisoners, and they were put in isolation for years and years and years, and they complained and complained, and then they stopped complaining. And then they were in their cells as monks. And they were taking themselves in that quiet space, and they were souls going up. Yeah. But then other people get in prisons, get angry and then often they begin to lose their anger. It's spiritual work. It's spiritual work. I wouldn't rationalize it to anybody, but it's spiritual work, and it's going to prison.
Like it if you would lead us in a brief meditation here at the end of the webcast, Rhonda.
We're going to have a brief meditation. Get comfortable so that your body doesn't pull on you. And put your mind at the center of your chest. And the awareness that is in the chest is your awareness. And that awareness, if you go into it deeply enough, being your awareness, going into deeper being. Feel peace. Feel compassion. Feel love. Feel joy. Luxuriate in the wisdom that is at the bottom of your awareness.